Do you ever feel like your body just doesn't bounce back the way it used to? Maybe digestion is a bit slower, or you just don't have the same energy you once did. It's easy to chalk it up to just getting older, isn't it? We often accept aches, pains, and feeling sluggish as an inevitable part of the journey. But what if some of those feelings, some of those health challenges, aren't just about the number of birthdays you've had? What if something you've been eating regularly, something you might even enjoy, could be quietly contributing to those issues, potentially even putting your health at risk? It's a tough thought, I know, but sometimes the foods we've eaten our whole lives need a second look as we move into our 60s and beyond. Our bodies change, and the way we process certain things changes too. It turns out, some common meats, the ones you might find on your plate a few times a week, might not be serving you as well as they used to. In this video, we're going to look at 4 specific types of meat that, while perhaps fine in moderation when you were younger, could be posing a real problem now, potentially impacting your heart, your digestion, your energy levels, and much more. We'll uncover why they might be doing more harm than good and suggest some simple swaps that can make a world of difference. Stick around to the very end, because there's something we'll share that might truly surprise you about how quickly you can feel better by making these changes. Let's dive straight into the first one. And this is a big category that many of us grew up with and still enjoy regularly. We're talking about processed meats. Think about your breakfast table: bacon, sausage. Think about your sandwiches: ham, turkey slices, salami, bologna. Think about barbecues, hot dogs, certain types of sausages. All these fall under the umbrella of processed meats. Now, why are these a particular concern as we get older, especially after 65? Well, there are a few key reasons. Firstly, they are absolutely packed with sodium. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to salt. High sodium intake is a major culprit behind high blood pressure, which is a significant risk factor for heart attack and stroke. Our kidneys, which help regulate sodium balance, might not work quite as efficiently as they used to, making it harder for our bodies to get rid of that excess salt. Eating processed meats regularly means you're constantly flooding your system with sodium, putting unnecessary strain on your cardiovascular system. Just a few slices of deli ham or a couple of sausages can contain a significant portion of your recommended daily sodium limit, sometimes exceeding it easily in just one meal. Beyond the salt, processed meats often contain nitrates and nitrites. These are chemicals used to preserve the meat, enhance its color, and prevent bacterial growth, while they serve a purpose. When cooked, especially at high temperatures, nitrates and nitrites can form compounds called nitrosamines. Research has linked these nitrosamines to an increased risk of certain types of cancer, particularly colorectal cancer. The World Health Organization has actually classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen, meaning there is convincing evidence that it causes cancer. Now, this risk accumulates over time, while having a bacon sandwich once in a blue moon might not be a huge deal. Eating processed meats frequently, week after week, year after year, increases that cumulative risk. For someone over 65 who has already accumulated decades of potential exposure and whose body's repair mechanisms might be slowing down, this increased risk is a real concern. Another issue with many processed meats is the type and amount of fat they contain. Sausage and bacon, for example, are often very high in saturated fat. While dietary fat is necessary, excessive saturated fat intake can raise LDL cholesterol levels. That's the bad cholesterol, which contributes to plaque buildup in your arteries. This process, called atherosclerosis, narrows your blood vessels, making it harder for blood to flow and increasing the risk of heart disease. As we age, our arteries can naturally become less flexible, so adding to this burden with a diet high in saturated fat from processed meats is like putting extra weight on a system that's already working harder. Furthermore, processed meats often lack the beneficial nutrients found in leaner, Unprocessed protein sources. They might fill you up, but they don't provide the same density of vitamins, minerals, and lean protein that supports muscle maintenance, bone health, and overall vitality, which are all increasingly important as we get older. Replacing nutrient-dense foods with processed meats means you're missing out on what your body truly needs to thrive. Think about the convenience factor. Processed meats are easy. Grab some deli slices for a sandwich. Fry up some bacon quickly. This convenience is part of their appeal, but it also makes it easy to consume them regularly without thinking about the impact. Imagine swapping out your daily ham sandwich for a chicken breast or tuna salad made with plain yogurt instead of mayo. Or adding lentils and beans to soups and stews for protein instead of sausage. These small changes, repeated over time, can significantly reduce your intake of sodium, unhealthy fats, and those concerning nitrates and nitrites. It's not about saying goodbye forever to a beloved food, but about recognizing that moderation, and perhaps choosing these foods only on very special occasions becomes much more important for your health after 65. Making these shifts can help manage blood pressure, support heart health, reduce inflammation, and lower your risk of certain cancers. It's about giving your body the best possible chance to stay healthy and energetic. Understanding the why behind avoiding processed meats is the first step towards making healthier choices that truly support your body as you age. Now that we've talked about the issues with processed meats, let's move on to another common category that also deserves a closer look. Next up on our list are high-fat red meats. When I say red meat, I'm generally talking about beef, pork, and lamb, and specifically, we're focusing on the cuts that are marbled with visible fat or ground meats that have a high percentage of fat. Think ribeyes, pork belly, regular ground beef used for burgers or meatloaf, and lamb chops with the fat cap left on. Now, red meat itself can be a good source of protein, iron, and B vitamins. And leaner cuts in moderation can certainly be part of a healthy diet for many people. The issue arises particularly with the higher fat cuts and with frequent consumption, especially as our bodies change with age. The primary concern here is the amount of saturated fat and cholesterol. We touched on saturated fat with processed meats, and the principle is the same here. Excessive saturated fat intake can raise LDL cholesterol, increasing the risk of heart disease. While dietary cholesterol's impact is debated and varies from person to person. For many older adults, managing cholesterol levels is a key part of maintaining cardiovascular health. High-fat red meats are also often high in calories, and consuming too many calories, especially from fat, can contribute to weight gain, which in turn puts extra strain on your heart, joints, and overall metabolic system. Beyond the fat content, red meat, particularly when consumed frequently, has been linked in some studies to an increased risk of type 2 diabetes and certain cancers, like colorectal cancer. Separate from the processing issue, the exact mechanisms are still being researched, but it's thought that compounds released when red meat is digested, or possibly the iron content in high amounts, could play a role. For someone over 65 who might already be managing blood sugar levels, or who has other risk factors for these conditions, reducing intake of high-fat red meats becomes a sensible strategy to lower those risks. Another aspect to consider as we age is digestion. High-fat meats can be harder for the body to break down and digest compared to leaner proteins or plant-based alternatives. This can lead to digestive discomfort, bloating, or feeling heavy after a meal. If you've noticed that rich, fatty meals don't sit as well with you as they used to, reducing high-fat red meat intake might offer some relief and improve your overall digestive comfort. So, what can you do? It doesn't necessarily mean cutting out red meat entirely, unless that's a choice you make for other reasons. It's about being more selective and reducing frequency. Opt for leaner cuts of beef like sirloin, tenderloin, or 90% lean ground beef. Trim off any visible fat before cooking. Choose leaner pork options like pork tenderloin or loin chops. When preparing burgers or meatloaf, consider mixing leaner ground meat with ingredients like mushrooms, lentils, or oats to reduce the meat content and add fiber. And think about how often you're eating these foods. Could that burger night become chicken night sometimes? Could you swap out some steak dinners for fish or a vegetarian meal? Now, let's talk about another way we prepare meat that can significantly impact its health profile. And this brings us to fried meats. I know, a crispy piece of fried chicken or a breaded and fried pork cutlet can be delicious. But frying meat, especially deep frying, adds a tremendous amount of unhealthy fat and calories. The oils used for frying, particularly if they are reused or heated to very high temperatures, can form trans fats and other compounds that promote inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation is linked to a wide range of age-related diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and even cognitive decline. Frying also makes the meat much harder to digest. The combination of high fat and often a breaded coating can be very heavy on the digestive system, leading to discomfort, heartburn, and sluggishness, all things many of us are more prone to experiencing as we age. Furthermore, cooking meat at high temperatures, like frying, can produce those harmful compounds we mentioned earlier, like heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons PAHs, which are linked to cancer risk. Think about alternatives. Can that fried chicken be baked or air-fried for a similar crispy texture with far less added fat? Can pork cutlets be pan-seared with a minimal amount of healthy oil or baked instead of deep-fried? Exploring different cooking methods, baking, grilling carefully, which we'll touch on soon, roasting, stewing, or stir-frying with healthy oils can give you flavorful meals without the health drawbacks of frying. It's about enjoying meat in ways that are kinder to your aging body. Reducing high-fat red meats and minimizing fried preparations are powerful steps towards protecting your heart. Managing your weight, improving digestion, and lowering your risk of chronic diseases. These changes might seem small on their own, but together, they build a foundation for better health and more energy in your 60s and beyond. Making conscious choices about the types of meat you eat and how you prepare them is an investment in your future well-being. So, we've talked about processed meats with their load of sodium and additives, and high-fat red meats with their saturated fat and potential links to chronic diseases, and the pitfalls of frying meats, adding unhealthy fats and inflammatory compounds. Thinking about all this might feel a bit overwhelming, like suddenly everything you enjoy is off limits. But that's really not the message here at all. It's about awareness, about understanding how your body is changing and how certain foods interact with those changes, so you can make informed choices that support your health and vitality. It's about shifting your perspective slightly, not embarking on a strict, joyless diet. There's one more way we often prepare meat that deserves a mention, and that's cooking it at very high temperatures until it's well done or even charred. Think about that crispy edge on a grilled steak or burger, or the blackened bits on barbecued chicken. While delicious, cooking meat at very high temperatures, especially over an open flame or on a hot grill or broiler, can create those same compounds we mentioned earlier, HCAs and PAHs. These substances can damage your DNA and are linked to an increased risk of cancer, particularly colon, stomach, and prostate cancer. As with other risks, the cumulative effect over time is a concern. And for older adults, reducing exposure to potential carcinogens is an important part of staying healthy. This doesn't mean you can never grill again. Not at all. It means being mindful. Try pre-cooking meat partially in the oven or microwave before finishing it on the grill. This reduces the time it spends exposed to high heat. Marinating meat can also help reduce the formation of these compounds. Flip meat frequently while grilling to avoid charring, and trim off any burnt or charred portions before eating. It's about enjoying the flavors of grilling or broiling responsibly, bringing it all together. The 4 types of meat or preparation methods we've discussed: processed meats, High-fat red meats, fried meats, and heavily charred meats share common threads that make them less ideal choices as we age. They are often high in unhealthy fats, sodium, and compounds linked to inflammation and increased risk of chronic diseases like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Our bodies simply don't handle this burden as easily as they might have in our younger years. Digestion slows down. Our cardiovascular system might be more vulnerable, and cellular repair processes aren't as robust. But here's that surprising truth we mentioned earlier. Making even small adjustments in these areas can lead to noticeable improvements in how you feel, sometimes quite quickly. Reducing processed meats can start lowering your blood pressure relatively fast. Cutting back on high-fat and fried foods can improve your digestion and energy levels within days or weeks, as your body doesn't have to work as hard to process them. Choosing leaner proteins and healthier cooking methods can help manage inflammation, which can ease aches and stiffness. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about making conscious choices that honor your body and support your desire to live a vibrant, active life. Think about adding more lean protein sources to your diet. Skinless chicken and turkey breast. Fish, especially fatty fish like salmon rich in omega-3s. Eggs, beans, lentils, tofu, and nuts. These provide the protein your muscles need, essential nutrients, and often come with the bonus of fiber and healthy fats. Swap out the bacon at breakfast for eggs and some avocado. Choose grilled chicken salad over a ham sandwich for lunch. Make a lentil soup or a bean chili for dinner instead of sausage and mash. These are delicious, satisfying swaps that can make a real difference. Making these changes isn't about deprivation. It's about discovering new, delicious ways to nourish yourself and feeling better as a result. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge to make choices that serve your health goals. Every little bit helps. Whether it's cutting back on processed meats to just once a week or swapping out fried chicken for baked chicken. These steps add up to significant health benefits over time. We'd love to hear from you. What are your go-to healthier protein swaps? Have you noticed a difference in how you feel after changing your diet? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights could help others in our community if you found this information helpful. Please give this video a thumbs up. It lets us know we're providing valuable content. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel. We share regular tips and information designed to help you live your best life at every age. Focusing on practical, easy to understand advice for staying healthy and happy. Remember, small changes can indeed make a big difference to your health and happiness. You have the power to make choices today that will positively impact how you feel tomorrow and for years to come. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep taking wonderful care of yourself. Live your best life at every age.